Hi everyone. Tonight's really exciting as we have Zainab Alsetri, a 15-year-old entrepreneur and popular Bahraini TikToker. She's here with us today to talk about the toxic versus positive side of social media, sharing her own experiences and the challenges she's had to overcome. With a current following of 39,000 followers on TikTok, not only is she an incredible content creator, but also raises awareness on important social issues. I'll hand it over to Omaima to continue with our introduction.
Thank you, Fatima. All right, so before we get started, here's a little introduction on who we are. I'm Omaima Mosharaf, the founder of Youthwave.mena, and I'll be hosting with my colleague, Fatima Hasan, our art director. We are a regional innovation hub connecting globally that aims to empower young social entrepreneurs and innovators and help the youth recognize their roles, create dialogue, and take action towards sustainable social and economic development. We pre-launched in December 2020, and since then, we've had an incredible amount of support, and we really appreciate that. As we look forward to our journey, we hope to positively impact the lives of the youth and the community. That's all from our end for now. And now moving on to our lovely guest speaker, Zainab. It's a pleasure to have you. And I'll let Fatima to open up with our first question for you.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Okay, so let's get started. So for those of you who don't know who you are, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about what you do and perhaps what TikTok is even?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Zainab Alsetri and I'm a TikToker here in Bahrain. I have 39,000 followers as of right now and I make TikToks. TikTok is basically a platform where you can be creative and basically make whatever type of content you want and just have fun. You can get a following on there. Some people can even get famous up there. Really cool app.
Okay, great. So Maima, do you want to add on top of that for the next question?
Yeah, thank you, Zainab, for answering that. Really excited to get to know more about you. So, what initially got you started with making TikToks, and when was it exactly that you started to gain more attraction, or more specifically, what was the video that really set you apart and went viral, setting your position as a prominent Bahraini TikToker?
Okay, so I started making TikToks because I heard of the app from school and a lot of really cool people were like blowing up on there and getting loads of followers. And so I said to my friends, like, why can't I do that? Why can't I be one of those people? And so I just started making random funny videos for fun with my friends and just kind of messing around. I didn't think that I would get followers at all. It was simply just for fun. My first video blew up back in 2020. I remember exactly which video it was. It was a singing video, and it was the first singing video that I had filmed. And the song was Producer Man. I think it got like 100,000 views, which for me at the time was viral.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can see from what you said that it was totally unplanned, and then suddenly you blew up, and it was really amazing for you to do that. So I guess the question I have for you next is, since you've built a huge presence on social media, were there times when you sincerely thought about becoming an influencer as a career, or do you have any other plans?
Well, for me, TikTok and social media in general is more of a hobby. It's something that I really enjoy. So I wouldn't ever consider doing TikTok full time or like being a social media influencer full time. My actual plan is to be a orthodontist, hopefully, in the future.
Hopefully, that's amazing. But do you think that you'd continue at least to become an influencer as a side, maybe, apart from what you really want to do in the future?
Possibly. If it continues being enjoyable for me, then yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So again, you're popular on social media. So do you often have trouble prioritizing over other things on some days? And, like, for example, TikTok in school, do you have any troubles with that? And what are really some of the challenges you have faced so far?
Well, for me, what was important was having balance in my life and making sure that I wasn't spending too much time on the app and making sure that I finished all my schoolwork on time and I still kept up with my grades, because making TikToks can be time consuming sometimes. So some days, of course, I would prioritize making TikToks over school, which was not good, and I do not recommend doing that. But now I've kind of learned how to balance it better than before.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like a lot of people see like a 7-second video on their For You page or 30-second, 60-second, whatever it is, and they think it's just really easy. So I really commend you on that. And I understand that it takes a lot of time because it may be really just like for entertainment purposes, but I feel like, like from a creative side, like you need to really think about the kind of things you post, whether it's appropriate and will people actually like the content you're posting.
Yeah, of course.
I kind of have to agree with what Fatma said also about, having to put in a lot of thought when it comes to content creation. But I just want to ask, in addition to the next question that I have for you, how did you manage to balance that, your social media life and then everything else that goes on?
I like to make schedules. So it's something that I recently started doing to like plan my day out and make sure that I actually stick to it. So I have designated time for schoolwork to make sure that I get everything done, I don't fall behind, and also have dedicated time to TikTok and doing the things that I enjoy. So that's how I balance it.
Yeah, and that's really good that you separate two things and you make sure that you stick to that schedule. A lot of the times, sometimes we set deadlines or schedules for ourselves, but then we don't stick to it, which is really bad, but I'm glad that you do. So Zainab, the next couple of questions reflect more closely on the toxic side of social media. And I'm just wondering, have you had any experiences with having to deal with that? How did you put up with it, or how did you get out?
Well, thankfully, I haven't had any really, really horrible experiences with like cyberbullying or anything. Like for me, it was mostly love and support, which I'm really grateful for. But of course, with all that love and support, there will come a little bit of hate and, some trolls online who have something to say. But, thankfully it wasn't too much. It wasn't too overwhelming. It was just like some small comments here and there. For me, what helped me with it is just to remember that these people are really sad to really take time out of their day to comment something to make somebody else feel bad. And like in the end of the day, I'm just doing what I love and I'm like having fun online, doing my thing. And so it shouldn't really matter what anyone else has to say or anyone else's opinions about you, as long as you are confident in yourself and that you're doing what you love.
Yeah. So when you said there about that it shouldn't really matter, did you ever find yourself actually wanting to get out? And have you ever done that?
I mean, as much as we like to say, this shouldn't matter, you just have to be confident in yourself, you just got to make sure you don't let it affect you. But sometimes it really will get to you, and it really does. And even if you have endless amount of support and love, you really will start to grasp onto even just one hate comment or one negative comment. So
Exactly.
Of course it has affected me a little bit, but now I think I've learned to keep it under control.
That's great. Great. So Fatma, I think you can carry on with your next couple of questions.
So I know that like it's very hard to cope with social media, especially with all of the negatives. And I'm sure a lot of us are well aware that you have taken a break and you made a quote unquote comeback. So what was the reason for this when it seemed like you had quit? And how did you feel receiving like such an overwhelming amount of support coming back? And I know this because this is so embarrassing, but I was one of those people and I didn't even know you personally, but I just felt so bad when I saw your video. And I know that a lot of people did really care for you. And I just wanted to say, like, I just wanted to ask you, like, how did it feel having and receiving that much love when, you had left?
Okay, let's break this down. This all started when my parents started to notice that I was kind of putting less effort into schoolwork and I wasn't prioritizing my education and my grades, and my focus was mainly on TikTok and kind of just like making videos on there. So they decided that like enough was enough. They banned me from the app, which I mean, now that I'm older and more mature, I understand why they did it. But of course, at the time, I was really upset. Like in my mind, it was like, well, I'm doing something that I love and I'm happy doing it. So why are they doing this to me? Why are they like making me stop? So that's what had happened. And I made a video talking about it and I was clearly very upset in the video. But, thankfully I received a lot of love and support, which I'm really, really grateful for. Like, receiving all that felt amazing. To know that that many people cared about me and, and do well.
So it's been like quite some time since then. And, after that break, I just like wanted to clarify, are you active on TikTok and social media right now?
As of right now, no, I'm actually not very active on TikTok or social media, just because I feel like taking breaks is healthy, and everyone should do it when it starts to get like a little overwhelming, especially since I have my GCSEs for like my exams coming up,
Yeah.
and I have to like really focus. And I don't want to fall back into my prioritizing TikTok over school thing again. So as of right now, I'm focusing more on school.
Yeah, I think taking breaks is really healthy actually, because I feel like you said, you can fall into a hole of just, it's really hard to balance schoolwork and TikTok. And along with it being healthy to balance that, do you think that social media ideals and standards also drove you from the app? And really, like, would you ever think of returning to social media again, knowing that this is like a toxic cycle of like going back to the app and then leaving again and then going back?
Yeah, I think for sure it really like affected me going on the app and just seeing like pretty much the same like person, same kind of look, which was like the beauty standard that was set. And those were all the videos that were just going viral and blowing up. And I felt like the whole app is a bit of a vanity project. It's very focused on the way that you look, is what I'm gonna say. And most people will go viral or have their video do extremely well simply because they're attractive. And that it does not sit right with me. And that did kind of drive me away from the app as well.
Yeah, I completely second you on that, because I do see a lot of people blowing up because of I don't know how else to phrase this, but a thirst trap, or like the same kind of European stereotype. And it's just, I just don't feel like the app is actually giving any platform to things that are more important. And it's just, they're really prioritizing people of looks instead of, let's say specifically right now, like post about Philistine or other posts raising awareness about other topics. So yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, since you mentioned that, Fatma, Zainab as well, I think right in the beginning we mentioned about how you aim to or have raised awareness on important needs to be talked about social issues. Could you tell us about how and why you've chosen to do that? And do you think more people with a social media presence should also get on board to do the same?
Yeah, of course. So I talked about a few things. The main video that really, really blew up about like me raising, social issue was talking about the Uyghur Muslims in China that were held in concentration camps. And this was a really big issue and is still a really big issue. And of course, me being Muslim myself, I thought I had to talk about it, I had to spread some sort of awareness. And usually I see people on TikTok or on any social media platform, if they are going to raise awareness, it's usually just them talking about it, which is really, really good. But I thought I wanted to do something a bit different, and I wanted it to stand out, and I wanted more people to notice it, and I wanted it to go viral. Like, that was the objective of that TikTok. And what I did was I sang a song on the ukulele about Uyghur Muslims being held in concentration camps in China. And a lot of people thought it was really cool because it was kind of like a new take on spreading awareness. And clearly it worked really well because the video got like 1 million views. And that was my first proper viral TikTok.
Right. And I like how you mentioned, I like how you had a clear intention of what you wanted to do with this video and how you wanted to spread awareness, and the fact that you wanted to reach more people and to take that creative approach as well on a creative platform is really good as well. And now I'd like to ask you, what are your thoughts on social media can do more than what we think it can?
100% agree with that statement. If you think about it now, not even just the youth, but everyone is on social media. Like, we are all connected on social media, and we spend more hours a day on it than we think. So if you're constantly just, feeding your brain with all this information, we might as well put something educational or useful on there that will actually help people or spread awareness about something. So it definitely has an incredible impact. And you can reach like billions of people, which is incredible. I can't even grasp reaching that many people.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we've been doing as well at YouthWave MENA, I would say, because we are mostly talking about sustainability and social issues and all of that on our platform, what we've decided to do is, because our target audience is the youth itself, we wanted to create a presence on social media, and we found that it was a really good way to do that, and people are actually listening and they want to know more. So that's a good point that you mentioned there. How important is your social network generally? Is it necessary to grow big on social media? And if so, why do you think so?
I think that if someone wants to grow big on social media, I encourage them to. I think it's a great resource for so many different things, and it's not only just enjoyable, but it can be like educational and used for like really good things. So I think that if somebody wants to, they should, but I don't think it's necessary, just because I don't think everybody has the right mentality to be able to go on social media and put yourself out there. Like, that requires courage, and you need thick skin to be able to do that. So if you don't have what it takes, and if you don't have the like confidence in yourself to do it, then you can easily just destroy your mental health.
Yeah, that's a really good point, I have to say. And yeah, I guess to that, I hand it over again to Fatma for her next few questions.
Yeah, so going back to what you just said, and how about how if anybody wants to start on social media, they should have thick skin and they should be prepared for, I mean, it's sad to say this, but you need to expect the worst, because there are some negative comments, and even though you're overwhelmed by positive comments, you could really focus on the negative ones. So to kind of go along with that, so for people who do want to build a big presence on social media, do you know any kind of tips or advice to them specifically based on your experience and what you've gone through?
Yeah, sure. So it depends on where exactly you want to start. So for me, my main focus was TikTok, and that's where I blew up. But obviously, it's going to be different for Instagram or Twitter, any other social media. But focusing on TikTok, my like biggest advice to anyone who wants to start being a TikToker is just don't go into it expecting to be famous. Like, that's never the right mentality, because you're just going to be disappointed. Like, you're just going to go into it and you're going to see that, oh, your videos aren't doing so well, and you're going to get discouraged. So if I had gone into this being like, oh, like, I'm going to do this because I want my videos to go viral, I want to be famous, I want this, I want that, then it would never have worked for me. Because in the beginning, my videos got like 10, 20 likes. So of course I would have just given up. The main focus should be to have fun and to do it because you enjoy it. And from that, people will notice that you're having fun, and they're going to want to follow you on your journey. And they're gonna want to see more of you and more of your content. So yeah, that's basically, that's my biggest tip.
Yeah, I think that was the perfect way to answer that question. And I feel like, you know, part of getting into a toxic cycle is really focusing on the likes and not doing it for fun, because you know, at the beginning it could be really fun for you and it could be something you wanted to try, and then through the process, after making video after video, you know, you really do start to focus on the numbers. So I really second you on that. I really agree with you on that. So sadly, we are coming to an end soon on today's discussion. But, you know, before we do that, what would be your final opinion, if you have an opinion, on social media?
Social media is very broad. It comes with an incredible amount of positives, but also a lot of negatives. So I think that social media is a really big, relevant part of everyone's life. And I think that everyone should start to get used to seeing more of it, because I think that it's going to blow up even more, and more people are going to start using it. So yeah, that's what I have to say about social media.
Yeah, that's great. So Omaima, do you want to add a couple more words?
Yeah, I just have to say, I think, Zainab, you did so well with, you know, answering all of the questions that we had for you. And you brought up really good points, both negative and positive points about social media. And you really pointed out about mental health, for example, and about setting the right intentions when you want to go on social media. And I think, like Fatma said, I want to second you on that part where you said you have to do it for fun, or you have to do it for the sake of wanting to do it, not for the sake of gaining followers, gaining fame, and all of that. Because one day, eventually, it might go downhill. And what are you going to do? How are you going to feel? And that could ruin you. So before we end, I guess I'd like to let some of the people that we have here with us today maybe ask you a few more questions if they have any. So I'm just going to give it a few minutes, and let's see if anyone has a question for you so we can get this to be more interactive.
Sure. Go ahead. Ask me anything.
Question, if that's okay.
All
Sure.
right, go ahead.
Okay, so obviously Zainab touched on how her fame on TikTok affected her mentally with regards to her confidence and stuff. But as a student, how do you think your TikTok fame affected your social life in school? And were there a couple people who tried to use your newfound popularity to kind of climb in the social ranks? Because obviously fame online also probably create some kind of attention in person as well.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Vanessa. Of course, definitely. Back before I started doing TikTok and blowing up and getting a large following, I wasn't the most popular person ever. Like I wasn't friends with the popular gang, nothing like that. I was just kind of minding my own business. I had my small circle. But since people started seeing me blow up more and more, of course, I gained a lot of quote unquote friends and a lot of the people who would like never talk to me before, even some people who were a little bit rude to me and didn't like me started to want to hang out with me and started to want to make TikToks with me and things like that. So yeah, for sure. I went through that.
Can I add on to that or?
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, do you think that it was like a valuable lesson for you to learn how to identify genuine people in your life? Or was it kind of overwhelming having to find out that so many of your friends didn't really care about you? Or obviously cared about you, but were mainly just using you for popularity?
A bit of both. So it did like teach me who the genuine people are, like the ones that stuck with me the entire time, even from before I was famous and everything. And I'm sure some of the people who started to get to know me more since I became more popular didn't all have bad intentions. They just wanted to get to know me since they see me on TikTok. But it was a little, it didn't sit right with me knowing that a bunch of people who didn't like me before suddenly wanted to be friends with me. So that was something that kind of shocked me because I was not expecting that at all. And of course, I'm not friends with those people or anything, but it was just a shock.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm done.
Does anybody else have a question for Zainab? Okay, so a question for me then. Just one more question. All right, so Zainab, what would you say your confidence level is like right now after all that you've gone through and after all that you've learned?
Well, thankfully, I'm actually pretty confident in myself and I don't have as many, self-esteem or confidence issues or insecurities as I had when I first started, because I think now I've started to understand more about social media and how it affects you, and to know that even the people who are on social media who seem perfect and who seem so attractive, like the ideal person, don't even look like that themselves and have all these filters on, things that can just completely change your entire face and so much more. So knowing all of that and knowing that beauty comes in all different forms, I am completely confident with myself.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I think, with you saying that, it's because you've learned a lot and you've, like you said, you've understood what's been happening and what's going on, that it kind of made you or built you to become stronger. And that's kind of a lesson that everybody can take from that. Sometimes these experiences that seem to be really bad for you actually make you stronger. And I can kind of relate to that. At one point, I had a bullying experience. So obviously that did make me more aware about myself and more aware about my surrounding, and I was able to become stronger. And I think a lot of the youth out there can relate to that at some point. And to know from you that, all of these experiences can just make you become stronger is really powerful.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I think everyone has had some sort of bullying experience, unfortunately, because the world is a pretty cruel place.
So if no one has any questions, Fatima, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, so before we end it off, I just wanted to say I'm really thankful for what you've said, and I completely second you on. I mean, it sounds weird to say this because nobody can be right on everything, but I feel like you did make really great points today. And about the social media thing, I think it's really important to not be focus on other people's opinion and mirror, let's say, men's compliments or even girls' compliments or any people's compliments to be what you think is beautiful, because I really do think everybody is beautiful. So I think we're going to end the discussion here, though, sadly. And thank you so much for being here today, Zainab. And it's been an amazing conversation. And it's just been so fun talking to you. And we're so honored to have you. And You've been here today, and along with that, you've highlighted so many great points. Like I've said, I hope our listeners really take your advice, because I think you really did talk about the important things and things that really needed to be said. Because I feel like some people come on here, maybe they're too shy to say the truth, but I'm really glad that you did. We wish you all the best, and hope to see you next time on our For You page when you decide to come back again. See you even more. So yeah, thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you've had a wonderful time as well.
Yeah, I have. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this experience. It was really fun. Thanks for giving me the chance to speak about this.
Thank you, Zainab, for being here. And Fatima, you did really well with the closing statement. I have to agree with everything Fatima said, and I hope all of the listeners today and those that will be listening later really benefited and took a lot from this. Like Fatima said, all of the points that you've mentioned are really strong, and you really did give out a lot on the topic. So thank you so much, Zainab, once again for being here.
Thank you.